All right, so in lesson 3, we are going to talk about graphing with a point and a slope. So to recap, in lesson 2, you learned that slope is the rise over the run. And so we are going to use that notion of rising and running. Remember, when we rise, it's a positive number. And we go downward if it's a negative number. And when we run, we're thinking left or right when we are moving that point. So let's start with the steps on the left. To draw a graph from a point and a slope, the first thing you are going to do is you're going to graph the point. So in this particular problem, you are given the point 2, 3. So we're going to start from the origin, and we are going to go 2 spaces to the right and 3 spaces up to graph your point. So that is step number 1. Step number 2, from the point, you are going to use the numerator to determine the rise. So let's write our slope off to the side right here. We have a slope of 3 over 4. So we know that the numerator is going to be determined by the rise. So it's a positive 3, so we are going to go up 3. And then we're going to look at the denominator, and the denominator is a 4, and this is our run. So we are going to determine from that positive 4 that we're going to go to the right, because positive numbers go to the right, negative numbers go to the left, same as positive numbers go up and negative numbers go down. So what are we going to do with that? So we have done steps 2 and 3. We're going to go to step 4 and graph as many points as we can. So what we're going to do is we are going to start from that dot that we graphed at 2, 3, and we're going to use the slope 3 over 4 to go up 3 and right 4 from that dot. So we're going to go up 3 spaces, and we're going to go right 4 spaces, and we are going to place a dot. This is what we like to call the stair-step method when we're plotting from a point and using the slope to get more graph dots. And then we are going to connect those dots together. In this instance, you're only going to get one other dot, because if I go up 3, I'm going to be somewhere off my graph. So I am not going to do that. If you would like to graph using this line that I drew that I'm now highlighting, you can, and then if you want, you can erase it later. You can erase both of them, and there is your graph of the line. Well, let's try this again with 2 more examples. So step number 1, we're going to plot this point 4, 0. So we start at the origin, we go 4 spaces, and we are going to leave it on the x-axis because it doesn't tell us to move up or down. And then we see that we have a slope of 1. Remember, slope has to be rise over run. So we're going to make this a rise over a run by putting a 1 underneath the negative 1. And so we're going to look at our rise. And our rise is negative, so that actually is going to tell us to move down. And then our run is positive, so it tells us we're going to move to the right. So from the point 4, 0, we are going to go down 1 and right 1 and place a dot. And we're going to continue to do this because I can get another one, down 1, right 1, place a dot, and down 1, right 1, place a dot. Then you are going to connect all your points together, making sure there are arrows on the end. And like I said, you can go in, and that's going to make everything erase for me. You can go in and erase those stair steps if you would like. Okay, let's try one more together. Looking over at the point -3, +1. We're going to go left 3 spaces and up 1, so you're in quadrant 2. And then we're going to take a look at our slope over here. Our rise is -2, so we are going to go down 2 spaces. And our run is +3, so we're going to go right 3 spaces. So we're going to start at the point -3, 1, and we're going to go down 2, and we're going to go right 3. And I'll show you without the stair step, down 2, right 3, down 2, right 3, and we're going to continue this until it looks like we're going to go off our graph. We're going to connect our dots as best we can with a straight line, add our arrows, and those are your graphs. So to review, you graph your coordinate point by moving X, then Y, and then you locate your slope and you determine if the rise goes up or down, if the run goes up or down, and then you go from that first point and you move with the slope, rise over run, however many spaces it tells you, until you have as many dots as you can get on the graph, and then you connect your dots. Another thing to do is go back and check. For example, my slope is positive 3/4, and I have a positive slope in my graph. That means it's correct. This one had a -1 over +1, and I have a negative sloped graph. And the same thing happens with the third one. This is a negative slope, and I have a negative slope of my graph going down and to the right. So I always want to check to make sure that I haven't done anything backward, because if you notice, coordinate points are X, then Y, and slope is the opposite. You're moving up and down first and left and right second. All right, if you have any questions when you're doing the practice problems, the 6 below for your virtual work, go back and revisit this video.